just, because I've looked at it quickly.
Okay.
So that 90,000 should really, if we're carrying it forward, it should be in the last column on the right, proposed fiscal year 2015.
On the first page.
On the first page.
Correct?
Yeah, we didn't spend it, so we are carrying it over.
Okay.
So that should carry over. That should be in that column. The other thing that I somewhat disagree with that is on the top line, the top two lines, we have 78,000, but we actually got in 79.
Right.
$163 more. We had 108,444, but took in 113.
Gotcha.
Now, while it's a difference, we're showing it as a minus, but it's actually a plus.
It is. That's the accounting.
Yeah.
When it shows as a plus, it really shows as a minus in the accounting world.
So when we go down to the bottom line, total full fund revenue,
right,
that dollar amount really should be added to the
90,000. You're absolutely correct.
Instead of subtracting.
Right.
So
leaving us 280,000.
We need to plus those two to come up with a number of 95,000 some odd dollars. So that's just a correction that needs to be done. Then, thank you, Chair, for letting me speak. So on the page, I haven't looked at 2 yet, real close, but page 3, the fiscal year budget remaining, that's what I don't understand is where it's going.
Yeah, and that's not a correct.
13,500 on line 2, and drop down to 9,911.
Well, that 13,500, if you look at the previous page, that's under capital outlay where it shows the 3,500 in parentheses and then 17,000 in there for the parking lot.
Okay.
Second page.
13,000.
Yeah. If you look here and here, that's just a continuation of those two.
Okay.
Being added.
Yeah, that's right, because I added 30,000.
That's where 13,000.
Okay.
Okay, and then the 9,911. But what I'm saying is, where are we putting it? What I need to know, or like to know, where we're putting those overage dollar amounts.
So they have to remain in this budget. This is a segregated budget, so it can't go into general fund, can't go into sewer, only has to stay here.
I agree, but if we have contingency of 45,390, and we've got a reserve, we still have reserve funds somewhere of 70,000.
Yeah.
It's those 3 items total up to, I'm going to guess that one.
But remember, that's what's remaining for this year. That's when that money still may be spent.
It may be spent, but I'm wanting to know where it gets moved to. We're going to have to really look at this.
We are.
So while this budget, it's got a lot more money than we realize.
Oh yeah.
When the new finance director comes, there's no doubt that when you see this budget in its entirety in July, there will be a few changes.
Okay.
But in essence, we're really looking at what we're going to spend, and everything else will be accounted for properly.
And I don't disagree with what I'd like to see us spend, but what I don't want to go into this is saying where we think we have 190,000, but we really got 280,000 somewhere out there. We're gonna have next year to use, or
you put in a contingency for something that we're planning to purchase.
That's it.
Or commissioners use before the end of this year.
Right. And I put a lot in contingency just so we don't have to redo a whole budget. We can just, the CRA can vote to, CRA board can vote to move the contingency into for whatever project.
You know, do we have to approve this tonight?
No.
Okay.
No, this is just a presentation as I.
Okay. Well, then I can look at it.
Yeah, this is just, no, this is not a go vote on it yet.
There, just 1 second.
Yeah.
Before, I won't get into it until after everyone speaks, but there are some things that, and I imagine that maybe some other things that the rest of the board would like to see or identify, things that we would like to be in the budget that may not be, that are not in this as it's presented. So
Right.
if there are some things that you know of tonight, then I'd like to have that put out. Of course, I think we'll have another opportunity, I think, to do that as well. But if you know something tonight, go ahead and present
Right.
that as well.
So as I go through this budget here for expenditures, you know, if we come to something, please just holler at me and I will include it if it's the wish of the whole board. Now I did increase to start out with the personnel services. You know, I increased it from 20 to 25,000 because we will the wishes of the board will go out for a personnel action sometime prior to the start of this budget.
That's the executive director, the part-time
That's
executive
right.
director that we're looking
And
for.
so I need the board to think about what you want the requirements to be. In this case, whether they have a degree, experience, you know, whatever you think they might have, and we'll create a personnel action and advertise it. Operational expenses. The 8,000, we used the part of that 8,000 to produce a pamphlet, and it should be before you within the next 30 days or 45 days. It's being created. The printing of it will be paid for by Visit Gainesville. So they're going to take the lion's share of printing that pamphlet. A lot of people are looking for it, even in the economic development arena.
So the professional services, the $2,600 is what you have used so far, basically to put that pamphlet together.
It is correct.
And then down further where it says pamphlet CRA, where this year we had 5,000 and next year we don't.
Right.
The Visit Florida is going to be using that, is going to be providing the 5,000.
Their money, that's correct. And I simply put 4,000 into professional services. If there was something else that came up, they have agreed to go ahead and put up a billboard when one becomes available, but we may have to pay for the design of that billboard.
Can I ask what the pamphlet's for?
Ms. Bass?
It is to promote the downtown area and those to bring people in. It meant to go to the welcome centers all through the state so that people could pick it up and say.
So it's a High Springs informational pamphlet.
Yeah, and it should be something that's going to be wanted because the pictures we're using are from the Springs, and the lady that takes pictures for National Geographic has loaned us 4 of those pictures. So it's going to be a very attractive thing. So when you look at all the pamphlets, this should jump out at you.
But it's not going to be just the spring. It'll also have some pictures of the downtown.
Oh, without a doubt,
Okay.
it will. It's going to be an 8-page pamphlet, and it is, because it's CRA money, it is focused in on the downtown area. The pictures are out there because we promote ourselves as being the gateway to the Springs.
And I'm sorry, you were talking about the billboard. I'm new, so I'm just trying
I'm
to get
sorry.
some background.
Right. This year, the CRA board voted to put out and actually put $10,000 against putting out a billboard. But Visit Gainesville is willing to go ahead and pay for that. We just have to come up with a design.
Is it just one billboard or two or?
Just one.
Just one?
Mhm.
Do you know?
No, there isn't any available right now.
And I'm assuming you're talking about I-75?
Yes.
Okay.
The attorney put $400. No, I put $5,000 for the attorney to my left. The $64,000 that goes to the city, that is for the services we provide CRA. The last, yes, sir.
Mr. Booth, I'm sorry, Mr. Barnes.
Ed, well, in the past, we've talked about that number a lot.
Yes.
It being whether it's justified or not, because the city really, and for Ms. Bass's information, what that number is it's money that we take from the CRA and give the city for the work that city staff does for us. Okay, it used to be 90,000, and we reduced it to 60. Here's my concern or question. If we're now going to hire an executive director,
right,
and pay $25,000, then your role
will go away.
Diminishes.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't go away. You'll probably be still around, but it diminishes.
All right.
So I think that number, while I don't want to say it should be reduced by 25,000, we need to consider that for the next meeting.
Sure.
That maybe that number should be, even though the funds are there.
Yeah, I know.
And we like to tap it, is what we've done in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Tap that just for
Yes.
for city's sake. I think we need to be realistic because that's one of the hits in the audit.
Yes.
That the transfer of funds and the use of city money, we have to watch it. So I think that number should truly be more around 50,000.
Okay.
But that's my opinion.
Mr. Booth, when you we come back on the next meeting to look at this, you'll give us your take on what that might count.
Well, knowing the budget and doing that, it would have probably zero impact on the city budget or this budget.
So I'm talking about how much money you think it should be reduced by based upon your not having to do this.
I'll have to agree. 50,000
Yeah.
probably a reasonable figure.
Okay.
Now, we do other things besides me.
Right.
We Public Works goes out and does a lot of stuff. So, yeah, 50,000 would probably be reasonable.
Ms. Bass?
I'd like to know what services are done by the city for the CRA. It's just an idea.
Well, most of it right now is administrative, has to do with the city clerk and myself and going out and trying to get a pamphlet and doing all that. We will still probably do some of that because the CRA director won't have a staff. So she will rely on our staff. Plus, when a light goes out, we send our public works out, cracking a sidewalk. I mean, there's numerous things that.
We also have, we have a person, I think, cleaning the downtown area now, too.
Well, that comes out of this budget.
Yeah, we have that
You do.
out of another line item?
Right. Right.
Okay.
Somewhere.
I don't remember seeing it, but that's why I was asking.
It should be in here. That's where I'm looking for it.
Good question.
There was, we had allocated, I thought, 20,000 or something.
We did. And it was there. Somehow it has gone away. Okay, so.
That's another fix-o.
Yeah, that is.
Fix-o deal.
Yeah, that will be a salary and. Okay.
We had a part-time person, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Actually, it's not costing us 20,000.
No.
We can probably put 15
But it's gone.
for the.
Which one?
We don't know, it should be on one of these line items, but it's not in here that we can find
So I'll add 15,000 to that, which will make that 40,000 for the regular salary.
Yeah, it's not in the other one.
I thought that it was actually part of that 64,000 that we used part of that for that person when we first set it up. Now, maybe that we do need to set up a separate line item, because don't you use part of that person in the cemetery?
Yes,
as well?
I do, but,
And so,
you know,
I don't know which is the best way to show it as a line item, or just have it under as part of that city money, that cemetery money.
well, you could do that, but I'd rather put it under salary.
That's fine. That's
and
fine.
then take it out of the contractual services for us. And so I'll change that to, let's just say 45,000.
I think we'll have to look at the minutes on that,
Yeah,
see
yeah.
exactly what.
I seem to remember we made it a part-time position.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
supposed to be a dollar amount.
Mhm.
And I've got it somewhere on another document.
That's right.
So I just want to correct something.
Sure. Obviously, he's being paid out of Public Works right now.
And I understand that we don't have a finance director.
I
That's
know.
why some of these are like that, so I'm being kind.
Right.
I'm being kind.
Thank you.
Ms. Bass?
Yeah, let me see if I can get this straight. So you're talking about the 64,000, it may drop to 50.
Or 45.
Well, everybody said 50, so is it 45 or 50?
Well, I mean, I'm going to, it is a moving target
Roundabout.
because the board
Okay.
may change it
So we're paying 64,000 now,
to the city.
right? So with the proposed executive director, whatever it is, that's going to be 30,000. So that would be a total of, say, 80,000. So it's going to cost us more
No.
to have an executive director and pay the city. Is that correct?
Well, we're reducing some of the amount to the city.
Well, it's 64 now, but everybody was talking about it may drop to 50. So
Or
50
45.
and 30 is 80.
Right.
And then an extra, what'd y'all say, 20 for the, whatever it is, the part-time person?
No, 15,000.
15?
That is pretty much what he makes. So what I'll do is add the 15 to the 25 or 30,000.
And that'll be for two positions, two
That'll be for
part-time positions.
two part-time positions. And then we can reduce the amount, the contractual services, which are paying ourselves, down. I mean, to 40,000. It really doesn't make any difference.
The executive director is going to do more than what the manager does now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one reason why we felt that we needed an executive director, because there are a lot of
And
things.
it's going to cost us $16,000 more.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's true.
Sure.
Mr. Member Barnes.
Yeah, and just to help you along, Ms. Bass, we've gone through this for a couple of years, and we realized that dividing the city manager up as the executive director didn't work. It didn't get out into the community. So we really do need to hire. I was on board for a full-time person to get out there in the community and knock on doors and find out what they want. So yes, it certainly will cost more, and that's just something we'll get brought up at the next meeting. Also, I want to go back to your other question or comment on what is the 64 or 45 when it's ultimately there due. That's been somewhat of a bone of contention, I guess they say, over the years, but it's setting up this room for the CRA meeting. It's doing the paperwork that gets the CRA information out. Well, I think it's higher than it should be. That's something we can discuss. But they have come up with justifications there. Doing things downtown, planting the plants and things like that. So there has been justification. I encourage asking questions like that. Correction to the city manager when we talked about an executive director, and he said the word she. It could be he or
Oh,
she.
I'm sorry.
So I just want to put that out there and correct that.
And there was a study,
One hasn't been chosen. I haven't, yeah, we haven't
We
even.
haven't chosen one yet.
and there was a study that was done that looked at not only CRA but other city departments for the Maximus for this specific issue as to what should be charged or what the city could
The maximum that can be
charge
charged.
for the different kinds of services that they provide for different areas.
It was 80-some thousand. So that was probably very generous. Now,
Was it
one thing.
comparable
Yeah.
city size? Was it
for us.
comparing?
Yeah, it was just for us.
comparable?
Now, one thing we did do, that we spent a lot of time and effort on, it was for the grant. It was for the farmer's market, and the staff did a tremendous amount of work. I would tell you that this year you got your money's worth because for the grant, because we redid it and submitted it and back and forth. So, and I'll talk about that in another issue outside that. So we will come back and revisit the 64,000 at the next meeting. And I think everybody will have time to think about that. Travel and training, I have at 1,500. We didn't use any this year or didn't charge anything to it. I am making arrangements to join the state CRA association, which we probably needed to do, and we need the knowledge to know what grants are available and everything else to get some help, and it's a minor cost.
That's like under that subscription and dues, I guess.
Yeah.
I would make
Yes,
make a
Commissioner
suggestion
Barnes.
to raise that somewhat because we do have a new member that may need to go training, and if we do get an executive director, that may require some other training. I would consider 2,500.
All right.
Raise travel to 2,500. Member Bass?
I have a question. I've heard that the CRA is on for 2 more years. Is that correct? Definitely?
Definitely.
Yes.
Commission. But there was a possibility of applying to be granted another 10 years
Correct.
extension?
And the commission had no objection. The attorneys are writing that letter.
Okay.
We're putting together a 10-year plan.
No, it makes me chuckle because when we met with the county exactly a year ago, they said just send us a letter. We
That's it.
agreed.
I know.
They did a meeting and I asked to see if I could see the letter. If it was, okay. And
I have a
because
copy too, if you want to see it.
oh, I'd love to. Thank
Sure.
you.
Okay.
Because that's all they were asking.
I know, that's
And
all
we
they
can do all
want.
the other and move on forward. That's a good question.
So I guess my question is,
Ma'am.
when's the timeline of knowing whether that's going to be approved or not? When should you know?
Within the next year.
We are working right now. One of the things that we'll be getting into is the 10-year plan.
Yeah.
Right.
And putting that together, and then as soon as we can put that together, along with that letter, it has to go with the letter, too, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Here's the letter.
Just, yeah. Ms. Johnson.
I sent the letter October of 2013 and heard back from the county attorney at the time, and they said, we appreciate the letter, but we want you to get all your paperwork in before we will officially accept the letter. So that's what you guys have been working on these past couple of months, was putting together a 10-year plan, the things that are outlined in the letter that they want to see. So it sounds like the county is very interested in making this happen, but they won't formally accept the letter until they have all that paperwork.
Right. And we're not yet, actually, 2016 is when we have to have it in, so we're not up against the wall yet. And having an executive director certainly will help in putting the paperwork together and doing that, getting the 10-year plan going.
And I would think our goal would be to get it to them sometime next year, that 10-year plan, so that there's plenty of time to do anything that has to be done for the expiration of the CRA.
I guess my only question is, we've got this money sitting here, and if we don't know if it's possibility of extending it 2 years, why would we spend the money on an executive director that we could be spending for the city?
We,
Just
right. Well, first of all, I think there's every indication that the county has indicated that they don't see a problem with us extending that for 10 years. And again, even if it is just till 2016, we want to do what we have right now between now and the end of 2016, use the monies that are in the CRA to the best advantage for promoting the CRA to our businesses, to getting the business more involved, but that takes a lot of legwork that our manager can't do. And so that's why I think, well, the majority of the board believes that it's necessary to have that executive director to do that. Member Barnes?
I'll further comment on that. What is sitting in front of you should be a perfect example of why we needed an executive director. We've built up this $200,000+ looking for things to spend it on and not getting the word out to the community. We spent $45,000 roughly on the police theater because it was a good project and it was something to do, but there's so many, I think that's a $5 fine. There's so many projects that we could do in this city that we're not asking the public about or asking the business community about. So therefore, we need to, an executive director is something that would benefit the whole CRA and benefit paperwork and benefit the communication between us and the county. And I'll switch to one more subject. That 2 years ago, I went to the county and talked to them about some of the CRA functioning, what we could actually spend money on. And when I went to them, they had budgeted us for 40 years. I think I probably told the story several times, but they had anticipated us. They thought our agreement was 40 years, not 30. And so when I went in there a couple of years ago, I kind of opened the door to them saying, wait a minute, so you're not really going to 2026. You're only going to 2016. And her eyes lit up saying, well, we just saved 10 years of money. And that's when we realized, but since they have looked at their long-term plan and us being around for them, they're on board, and we'll hear that from the county probably again today if we ask the question. They're on board for extending it. And I certainly want to get that in front of them while we have commissioners, county commissioners that are on board for it before faces change. So it's just a little more history of what they've done.
They had only one caveat, and they wanted us to put in the same amount of taxes they put in. So, we're about $6,000 or $7,000 difference, and so that would increase the amount that goes into the CRA by a little bit, and including the increased property values, new businesses also increase. So moving the training up to 2,500. Property insurance is right there at $4,655. Repair and maintenance, those are things such as the light poles. Right now we're trying to find a mechanism so the clock will work. It is a mechanical kind of a thing and very old, so we're looking to upgrade that a little bit and so that it'll start working again. There are no buildings to repair. Promotion activities, we have spent $383, and that was part of into the pamphlet that we are developing. Subscriptions and dues, the $500 will cover joining the CRA Association for the state. Music in the park, increase that to $1,500 from $1,200. Although it shows that nothing has been spent, I know some bills came in recently, so part of that money has been spent. And so the total is $87,655, which is less than the $95,755 from last year.
Mr. Booth?
Yeah.
I think since we're under, I guess, operating expenditures, there's, I guess I'm going to throw out at least a couple of things that I'd like to see in the budget.
Okay.
One of the things we had mentioned were the murals downtown.
Yes, we did. We had some people that actually looked at them,
Right.
never came back.
Well, but we still want to do that, I think.
We want to do that, so.
I believe so. I think we need to at least put some money in a line item for that.
Okay.
And the
any idea what you?
I don't know what 5,000. I don't know, maybe 5,000.
I would agree with that, and I would probably put it in change that line item that says billboard advertising.
Yes.
Change it / mural.
Yes.
Two totally different things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, that's true. We can either have it separate or we can have it either one. It doesn't matter. Whatever I think the finance director.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is I would like, and it's really probably in the promotional activities, and I would like to see the CRA spend some money encouraging our businesses to stay open later, especially like on maybe Fantastic Fridays, whether we pay, that we can pay, I believe we can pay for some events.
Yeah.
Where you may have music down there, we may have, I don't know, activities for children. There are some things that that's been done on Fantastic Friday recently, but I think the CRA should be a little bit more involved in doing some events downtown, or at least promoting the events and providing some monies for that. And I don't know what the rest of the board feels about that, but that's something that at least I think we ought to do.
Sure.
Well,
Yeah.
you're probably right, because once you're executive director,
Yeah.
go on promotional line.
So maybe under the promotional activities, we may need to really increase that.
By how much you'd like to. I know you're grabbing it. I mean, we all.
Yeah.
5,000.
I think that's a little bit. Let's put, I think 2,500 would be okay.
2,500. Okay.
And a couple of other things I have is really under capital outlay, so I'll let you go
Okay.
there.
So we're at capital outlay. I'm going to check and find out what the $3,500 was spent, because I honestly don't know. I know the parking lots we did. That's probably what happened, is that so far we've paid $3,500 out.
One of the things you may want to put some money in there for, and I don't know how much it costs, but that whole area that's along Railroad Avenue, not the new stuff, but on the old stuff on this side, all of the parking space indicators, the paint.
Oh, yeah.
Those are disappeared, basically.
Okay.
And that's probably not a lot.
That is probably, and I'll talk to Public Works, but I think that's under streets and roads, so
Okay.
I'll push them on.
The other couple of things as far as capital outlay goes, one of the things we had talked about, I thought we had looked at, was the cover or that building for the fire engine, for the historic fire engine. And I'm assuming that would be a capital outlay for that building.
Would, and I'll see if they've done any research to see what they think the cost of that will be.
Okay. And then I guess the other question deals with, on the project list that you had listed within, obviously it's a 3-year project, but one of those things was that welcome center.
Yes.
And I don't know how you, well,
I can tell you, he wants 200,000. My guess is he'll take less. That little
welcome
building
center
over there,
yeah.
says High Springs building.
Now, that's not something we would budget the whole amount for. I mean, obviously, we're not going to have the 200,000.
He'll take payments too. I mean,
you know.
I think he'll go along with pretty much what we want because he doesn't see another market for it, to be honest with you.
I guess the question really would be, this is just a presentation on this, I suppose, but that's a huge expense, but again, it's something we could probably pay for over time, over a period of time, but I don't know, how the rest of the board feels on that. I know we talked about it, and there seemed to be some positive
I haven't
results of that. Yes, Ms. Bass.
We have the chamber office down there.
Right.
Why couldn't that, isn't that a welcome, why put that kind of money into a building when we've already got something in place to use?
The idea was to move to not, first of all, that whole corner area there is it looks like it's going to be developed into basically the entrance to the downtown area. And a lot of people stop every day at that building asking for information on the city, as opposed to I don't know, people go there and they direct them, but they keep a lot of stuff there that they give that the chamber would normally give out. So what we were thinking of, one is that the chamber would be there and operate out of that, and it even could be our executive director could as well operate out of there too, as part of that. So that was one of the things that we were looking at as far as part of a long-term purchase for the downtown area.
So then you would sell the building by the railroad track?
It would be used for something else as opposed to what it is now. We would probably fix the public restrooms up there, and it would be used more. I don't know what would be used for specifically, but we talked about using that for something else as opposed to the chamber, because it just seems that the people come in more down there than they do here, unless they get directed down there. But that's certainly something that the board's got to vote on. It's not,
right.
This is just throwing ideas out that we were looking at that we thought would help the city.
We then on the next page, where it says grants, we budgeted 50,000. We've spent 40,000. And I've increased it to 60,000.
I kind of think we should keep it at 50,000 at this point. I don't know what the rest of the board feels.
50,000 is probably a good number. We're going to have money in contingency. We've moved it in the past, so I can go either way.
And then I will have the contingency budget under there fixed. It'll be back to you at the next meeting we have.
Yes, Member Barnes?
We're going to run out of time.
Yes,
here.
we are.
Yes.
I'm going to make a suggestion that I don't know what your schedules are, but to consider a meeting next Tuesday. I'd like to see some accelerated meetings because we need to